Hi, I'm Bill Kanengiser, and welcome to GFAtv. So, in all these great lessons you've been getting, our wonderful teachers have been showing you left-hand techniques, right-hand techniques, different styles, all kinds of great stuff. But what I wanted to talk to you about today was, how can we make guitar playing not be such a pain in the neck or a pain in the back? And I'm sure you've noticed, after playing the guitar for a little while, let's say you got your leg up here on your footstool and you got your guitar there and you're reading your music and you're playing along, and after a while, when you get up, it kind of hurts. And what I want to try to talk about today is, how can we make playing the guitar feel good? And a lot of that has to do with starting from finding your center of balance and playing with ease. So a lot of times, let's say you see somebody playing and they got their foot up on the footstool and they're really getting into whatever they're doing, and you would think, well, that guy's a good player and he's really into it. But then if the guitar were to magically suddenly disappear, and you saw somebody sitting like this, you probably would say, oh, that poor guy, And the thing is, when we're into something, we're looking at the music, we're trying to look at the frets, we kind of easily contort ourselves into really unbalanced, really awkward positions. And then we hold them for a long time. So it's no wonder that our neck, our shoulders, our back will hurt. So just real quick, I'm going to try to get us to first be able to find our center. So if you just sit nicely on the chair, and the first thing, it all starts with the head. So the thing I like to do is, I imagine that I can put my fingers right into my ears and as if they were touching, and I just go, oh yeah. And I can nod my head like this. And notice, if I'm slumping my head forward, can't really do it. So my head is right on top of my spine, and I can do that. And you find that place for your head, and you can turn your head. So, hey, it feels good. The next thing is, what about my shoulders? Let me do a nice shrug. So if you're holding your shoulders up, that takes energy. If you're letting them roll forward like that, don't have any power in your arms. Get your shoulders up there, feel this buoyancy here. The next part is, when we're sitting, we have to find our place of rest on our butt. And you got these bones at the bottom of your pelvis, and actually if you sort of sit on them, you can feel them. And sometimes they call them rockers, or the sit bones. And I can feel where those bones are hitting the chair. And now what I want you to do is feel like, okay, I can rock forward and rock back. Notice when I'm rocking, I'm not going like that and letting my body slump or moving my head. I'm kind of keeping this nice and balanced, rocking forward, rocking back. And then I might rock a little side to side, Then kind of making like little circles, get it smaller and smaller, and there's my center, right there. Feels really balanced. Okay, so when we start to play the guitar, we then have to bring our arms to playing position. So the first thing I'll do is just bend my elbows like that. And then my right arm has to kind of come around a little bit, but notice I don't lift my shoulder to do it. And my left hand has to sort of come around like this, and I don't do it by dropping my shoulder. I don't do it by twisting my body like that, or turning like that. So I'm kind of playing air guitar now. Hey, this is balanced. When we have the guitar in our hands, it should be that the guitar fits our body, not us fitting the guitar. So just a couple other little real quick things. The way we sit on the chair is really important. A lot of times people sit way back on the chair. Feels good on the lower back because it's supported, but then when you go to the guitar, you might have to slump over to get the guitar, like that. It's always a little better to sit farther forward on the chair, because then you can do that nice rocking thing. But then a lot of times people have to arch their back like that to keep up, like that. that's going to be tight and hurt your back later on. And almost push the guitar out of the way. What I do sometimes, because not all chairs are great for guitar sitting, I made myself a little wedge cushion. Put it on the front of the chair. That keeps me at the front of the chair, doesn't let my pelvis roll back, but also can keep me up and holding the guitar. Now the final thing is, what about that footstool? Most players use a footstool, and footstools work great, but they can encourage your sit bones to be really twisted. I am actually using a kind of a support. There's lots of different kinds of supports like this, so I can keep my feet pretty much flat on the floor. So now you can see that the guitar is where it was when I was playing air guitar. And I don't have to strain to reach things. If I need to look at the neck, I don't have to go like that. If I have to look at the music, I don't go. If I have to look at my right hand, I don't have to go. And even when I get excited when I play, try to avoid going too nuts and getting out of balance. It's okay to go nuts a little bit, but if you hold an uncomfortable position for too long, it's gonna be a pain in the neck. Thanks a lot. Hope you enjoyed this edition of Guitar GFAtv.
Hello and welcome to the final session of this 4-part series on right hand preparation. In this one, we will be applying some of the technical principles we've learned to real life pieces, which should be really easy to do if you've been practicing these exercises that I gave you. First of all, let's look at the first principle, which is preparing your right hand fingers before you need them in an ascending arpeggio. Some of you might have played El Abejorro by Emilio Puyol, and if you already know the notes, then great. If you don't, then don't worry about it. It's just a repeated series of strings, and you can use open strings for that as well. If you know the notes, we have... These are the first 2 bars of the piece. So we basically have a series of repeated arpeggio patterns. We start with a 6th string, 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, and then the same thing with a different bass. 4th string, 5th string, 4th string. In this piece, we can apply all the principles we've been talking about. First of all, let's start by placing our thumb on the 6th string and the top 3 fingers on the top 3 strings of the guitar. The ring finger will not be used. It will just be on the 1st string as a prepared finger. We're not going to be using it. For the beginning, obviously we have the whole pattern prepared, so we just play the thumb without releasing the other fingers and without tensing them up. And we play with the index finger, middle finger, and on the way back, since it's a descending arpeggio now, we're not going to be preparing, we're just going to be playing this note. So we had 6, 3, 2, 3, and now for the next pattern, we're going to be preparing these 3 fingers that we have free, since the ring finger has always been there on the 1st string. These 3 fingers that we've been using so far, we're going to be bringing them to the strings at the same time for the next pattern. The next pattern will be the 4th string, 3rd string, 2nd string, 3rd string. The same thing will be done for the next note, which will be on the 5th string. So we're going to be bringing all 3 fingers onto the strings at the same time. And next one. So basically every time the thumb plays, the other fingers go onto the strings they're going to play at the same time, together. And all this time, the ring finger just stays on the top string and doesn't do anything. Here, I'll show you. I'll try to play in this really horrible position and see if I can make it work, but just so you can see what my other fingers are doing. Right? So all the principles that we've been talking about before. Pretty easy. Now, let's look at another example, another etude, this time Brouwer's etude number 1 from the Estudios Sencillos, the simple etudes. Etude number 1 has this really beautiful melody. But fundamentally it's the same thing. It's a bass followed by the accompaniment, and you are not using the first string. So let's do exactly the same starting position as in Emilio Puyol, and you'll see how this way of thinking will make it so that you always come back to the same position. So you are going to be better at guitar in general just because you're always practicing the same thing. It's going to add up better. So in this case, we have a same starting position, 6, 3, 2, 1 with these fingers. We play the bass by itself. Then the next two notes are the third and the second strings open. Repeat it twice. All the while, this ring finger does not move. It stays on the string. And we've prepared both the bass and these two notes, these two fingers at the same time. For the next note, it's a D, and we're going to be doing exactly the same thing. We're playing just the thumb, and then these two fingers release from the strings. Then the next bass is by itself, so you don't need to prepare it. And for the next note, we have an F sharp. We're going to be preparing both the thumb and these two fingers at the same time. So F sharp together, and then the accompaniment. And the same thing applies for the entire beginning of this piece. So basically, we're going to be placing our right hand fingers as if we were playing. That is, the accompaniment comes together with the bass all the time, every single time, and the only thing that we do then to make the music sound the way the Brouwer wanted is we don't play these two fingers. We put them on with the thumb at the same time, but we just don't play them. Here, prepare, 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 and so on. Now, finally, let's look at another example, and that is the anonymous, Spanish romance that a lot of you might have played as, in the beginning of your guitar journey. And that's this really famous. What's the deal with this piece? So we have descending arpeggios, which, as you know, are difficult to prepare. And also, if I try to do the sort of downward preparation in the right hand, it would cut the music off and sound really ugly. Nobody wants to listen to that. It sounds bad. So, in this piece, we have a situation where we basically cannot do any preparation at all. It just, sometimes the music doesn't let you. So, what I really want to show you is there are situations where this works, and there are situations where it doesn't. I'm a believer in preparation, but that doesn't mean that I do it everywhere. No matter what you do, don't become a fundamentalist in your technique. It's really important to maintain balance and to understand when there are exceptions. This is an exception. But the only thing that I do, I'll leave you with this trick before we finish this session entirely, is when I play the first note, after I finish playing it, I put my thumb sometimes on the 5th string and I just rest it there until the time comes to take it off and play the next bass. This is not rest stroke. I'm just doing free stroke, and after I play it, I just place it gently on the 5th string. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Hope you've learned something. Remember, don't always use it. Use it intelligently. It can really make a difference in your technique if you use it wisely. See you around.
Welcome to the GFAtv, and this is TY. It is a joy to practice the fundamental exercises right? It will increase our capabilities to handle difficult music passages, allow more extra power and attention to serve our musical ideas, and thus make it more enjoyable. We have established the basic foundation of a left-hand mechanism by changing fret and changing string exercises. Develop the flexibility of movement to express the magic of vibrato, and further have broke down the movement of hammer and slurs. Classical guitar is a multi-voicing instrument. In order to separate, highlight, to articulate or hold each voice, we're looking at the next level of left-hand training. The stretching, the precision of landing, and the independence of muscles. The first exercise of today is backward stretch exercise. The first, we're going to place 4 fingers down from the 12th fret 4th string, 11th fret, 3rd string, and so on. 10th fret, 2nd string, and 9th fret, 1st string. Hold every finger and play one by one. And then descend one fret at a time. As we descend further, the distance between frets will get wider and thus stretch our fingers. The next level, after you feel this very comfortable to descend all the way to 1st fret, the next level is going to be, and then descend one finger at a time. 1st finger first. And then move down 2nd finger. And then move down the 3rd finger. And then back to position. All together, but now you are on 1 fret less. Okay, keep going. Down 1, down 2, down 3, down 4. And I know we won't be able to, at the beginning, stretch all the way to stretch to the first 2 frets. So remember, don't force our fingers. Descend as much as you can. And when you think there's a signal from your hand telling you, oh, this is enough, enough is enough, then stop, give it a shake, and then start again tomorrow. And eventually we will achieve our goals. The next exercise is for precision training. It's called jump string exercise. It looks like this. So place both fingers, 1, 2, on 1st and 2nd strings, and then okay, so how to practice this? First, slowly. 1 finger, 1st string, 2nd finger, 2nd string, and reverse. And then increase 1 string more. Reverse. And then 1 and 4. And reverse. 1, 5. And then finally. So, at the beginning, we're practicing slow. Try to imagine the next move. How will it feel? How will the transition be before you move? And then try to shift fast, swift, and precise. And so on. And next pair is going to be the middle 2 fingers, middle finger and ring finger. And the last pair, I think you can figure it out. Okay, the final exercise we're sharing today is called the spider exercise. We're going to maintain both top and bottom voice by itself independently and lyrical. Okay, so this exercise sounds like this. This is one complete cycle. So you can mark down on a blank piece of paper. So the first line, we're going to mark the fingerings, left hand fingerings. The first line horizontally, please write down 4, 1, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1, 2. Are you finished? 4, 1, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1, 2. And vertically, under each number, we're going to write down circled numbers, indicating the strings we're playing. 1st string, 2nd string, 1st string, 2nd string, 1st string, 2nd string, 1st string, 2nd string. My tongue is tired. Okay, so this is the first exercise. Okay, so you can read off your notes. Don't leave on the fingers away from the string, unless you have to. So 4, 1, maintain the fingers as much as possible. You're going to play 3 now. So lifting 4, keep the 1, and now place the 4 here, and you can leave the 1. And then second, replace ring finger, and ring finger replace fourth finger, point finger replace middle finger, and middle finger come down, ring finger lifting up, and then fourth finger come down, like this. Okay, so after you get a hold of the routine, now highlight the top voice first, and make it continuous and legato. No gap. As smooth as possible. And next, we're going to highlight the bass voice. Finally, both voices highlighted, but try to use our ears to hear the both voices separately. Okay, the next level is going to be skip one string. You can choose any given 2 strings. For example, 4 and 6. And so on. Eventually you can do that's too much. Normally, if we do skip 2 strings, it's pretty good. Okay, remember that always pay attention to the signals our hand is sending out. Is it tired? Is it hurting? So pay attention to your hands, and remember, practice makes perfect, and most importantly, enjoy yourself.
Hi everyone, welcome back. Last time we were together, we talked about chords. We talked about different ways to play them. Specifically, we started with taking a D chord and moving it into different areas. We're going to talk today about writing a song. Now, songs can be written in any style. Pieces, compositions, can be written in any style. So they are interchangeable in some ways. You don't have to have a song meet a certain standard unless you choose to write it in a specific style. And the same is true for a piece of music that you're composing or spontaneously composing. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to write a pop tune or a folk tune in a key. Because we started last time with the D major chord, we're going to start in the key of D major. So again, for some of this, I'm going to refer you to your teacher for some of the theoretical background to what we're doing. But this is what's going to happen. We're going to talk about D being our 1 chord, like our home base chord. So what that means is that the materials that we can use for this song are the D major scale, because we're starting on D. D is our home base. And then the chords that go with that scale. So right now I'm going to tell you what they are. And then your teacher is going to tell you why they are what they are. The other thing we're going to need is a little bit of rhythm. We're going to have to come up with a rhythm. I'm just going to play an example. You're going to do whatever it is that you feel like you want to do, because you're going to write your own song. So, first things first, you might know a pattern for the D major scale. You might know how to play that. There's one little pattern that I'm going to show you that starts on the 7th fret. So if you go up to the 7th fret on the 3rd string, you put your first finger there, you play D. Now play your 3rd finger on E. Then you go to the 2nd string, and you play your first finger on F sharp, 2nd finger on G, A on the 10th fret with your little finger. Then on the 1st string, it's fingers 1, 3, 4 for B, C sharp, and D. So it's fingers 1, 3, then on the next string, 1, 2, 4, and on the next string, 1, 3, 4. So that's D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. There's a chord, a triad, built on each one of those notes. The most common ones to use, I'm going to pull out. D, the 1 chord. G, the 4 chord, built on the 4th note. A, the 5 chord, built on the 5th note. And B minor, built on the 6th note. So you get major chords on 1, 4, and 5. You get minor chords on 2, 3, and 6. And a lot of times you grab those 1, 4, 5, 6 chords and you get a really cool sound. So using our triad shapes from last week, this is what those chords would sound like. So here's B, right? Here's G. Here's an A, played in one way, and here's a B minor. So the first thing I might do, if I wanted to start with the chords, is I might think like, okay, what's kind of a fun rhythm that might be cool for the rhythm guitar part? So I'm thinking like, I might want to start a little syncopated. I might want to go like D, and then play like, I'm going to count to 4 and play on the and of 2, like the upbeat of 2, and then play on beat 4. So what if I went... So I'm just kind of mixing up the chords, and I'm kind of adding a little bit of a groove to it by playing one of them on what's called the upbeat. So again, it's like D, B minor, G, A, then I might go D, B minor, G, D, and play the nasty up high. And that's kind of funky, it's kind of groovy. I might switch it up. The first time I played a little different chord progression. I'm just playing around to get the chords. Then I'm going to record that and kind of get it in my head. And then I might start to sing or improvise on top of it. So I might go... So what I did was I just played around with the notes of the scale, and actually in there when I was improvising I played a wrong note, which actually sounded pretty cool, I think. And then I might not like that melody, I might like it, but I'm going to record them. And then I'm going to walk around and I'm going to think of my chord progression, I'm going to sing some stuff to it. And then I might add some lower ways of playing the chords, you know. Stuff like that, so get some bass in there. If I have a recording device on my computer, I can layer those parts. Or if I can get friends to Zoom with me or sit outside in the yard, I can say, okay, you play this and then you play this. And then maybe you start to sing, maybe you start to come up with lyrics. But that's one way to start to take the triads that you've been practicing. Put a scale there with it. Think of it in a key now, as we've been out of keys before, and see what you can come up with here. So you got scales, you've got chords that you can play in different ways, and you've got rhythms, and then you have your ear and your imagination. So try that this time. Talk to your teacher about what makes a key so you can understand a little bit of the background and give it a shot. Thanks so much. It's been so great working with you. Have a great day.